Jessica Thompson adjusted her navy blazer one final time, checking her reflection in the hallway mirror of her modest Aurora suburb home. Outside, Denver's early autumn air carried the crisp promise of the Rocky Mountains, visible through her kitchen window as she packed lunchboxes with practiced efficiency. "Mom, I can't find my science project," Jake's voice echoed from upstairs, tinged with the panic only a 12-year-old could muster. "Check your desk drawer, sweetheart," Jessica called back, simultaneously braiding 8-year-old Emma's hair and reviewing her interview notes. Today was the day. Senior Marketing Manager at Pinnacle Solutions, downtown Denver. After 18 months of freelance work and tight budget since the divorce, this position represented everything. Stability, benefits, a career path worth her MBA. Emma twisted in her chair, studying her mother's face. "You look nervous, Mom." "Just excited, baby girl." Jessica kissed the top of Emma's head, inhaling the sweet scent of strawberry shampoo. "Mrs. Rodriguez will pick you both up after school, okay? I should be home by dinner." Jake thundered down the stairs, backpack slung over his shoulder, project in hand. "You're gonna get the job, Mom, I can feel it." Jessica's heart swelled. These kids had been her anchor through everything. Michael's departure, the financial struggles, the lonely nights questioning every decision. Today felt like the turning point they all deserved. The drive downtown took 45 minutes through Denver's morning traffic, giving Jessica time to rehearse her talking points. She'd researched Pinnacle Solutions extensively, their client roster, recent campaigns, company culture. She was ready. Pulling into the gleaming downtown parking structure, Jessica took a deep breath. The Denver skyline stretched before her, all glass and ambition under the Colorado blue sky. This was her moment. Pinnacle Solutions occupied 3 floors of a prestigious building on 17th Street, Denver's financial district. The lobby's modern design, all steel, glass, and local artwork, spoke of success and innovation. Jessica arrived 15 minutes early, using the time to center herself and review her portfolio one final time. "Jessica Thompson?" The receptionist's smile was professional but warm. "Mr. Davidson will see you now." Richard Davidson, VP of Marketing, was everything Jessica expected from his LinkedIn profile. Mid-50s, expensive suit, firm handshake. His corner office overlooked downtown Denver, the mountains a majestic backdrop to their conversation. "Impressive resume," Davidson said, settling behind his mahogany desk. "Your freelance work shows real creativity. That campaign for Mountain Brewing Company, brilliant use of local imagery." Jessica felt confidence building. "Thank you. I believe effective marketing tells authentic stories that connect with people's lives." For the next hour, they discussed strategy, campaign development, and Jessica's vision for the role. Davidson seemed genuinely interested in her ideas about reaching Denver's diverse demographics. The conversation flowed naturally, professionally. "Your experience is exactly what we're looking for," Davidson said finally. "Before we proceed, I need to ask about availability. This position requires occasional evening events, weekend campaigns, travel to client sites." "I'm fully committed to excellence in this role," Jessica replied carefully. "Family situation? Spouse who can handle things when work demands extra hours?" Jessica's stomach tightened. "I'm a single mother, but I have reliable childcare arrangements and have always met professional commitments." Davidson's expression shifted subtly. The warmth in his eyes cooled by degrees. "I see. 2 children, correct? How old?" 8 and 12. "Very responsible kids and, Ms. Thompson, I'll be honest, this role demands total dedication. We've found that parents, particularly single parents, often can't provide the flexibility we require." The words hit Jessica like a physical blow. She sat perfectly still, maintaining her professional composure while her world shifted beneath her. "Mr. Davidson, my parental responsibilities have never interfered with my work quality or commitment. My portfolio demonstrates consistent results across multiple challenging projects." Davidson's smile was patronizing. "I'm sure you're very capable. But late-night client emergencies, weekend strategy sessions, last-minute travel, these are realities of the position. We need someone who can say yes without hesitation. I understand the demands, and I'm prepared to—" "Look, Jessica, may I call you Jessica? You seem like a wonderful mother, that's admirable. But this company comes first for our team members. We can't have someone constantly worried about picking up kids or missing work for soccer games." Heat rose in Jessica's chest, but her voice remained steady. You're making assumptions about my capabilities based on my family status. That's not reflective of my professional track record. Davidson stood, signaling the interview's end. We'll be in touch. Jessica knew she wouldn't hear from them again. Walking through downtown Denver afterward, Jessica felt numb. The autumn sun seemed too bright, the busy sidewalks too crowded. She'd prepared for questions about her skills, her vision, her experience. She hadn't prepared for being dismissed as a mother first, professional second. Her phone buzzed. Text from Jake. "How did it go, Mom? You're gonna crush it." Tears threatened, but Jessica composed herself. She had 2 hours before school pickup. Instead of driving home to an empty house to process this rejection, she made a decision. She walked into a coffee shop on Larimer Street, ordered a large latte and opened her laptop. Time to remind herself who she really was. Fluid Coffee on Larimer Street buzzed with Denver's entrepreneurial energy. Young professionals typing intensely on MacBooks, creative types sketching on tablets, the gentle hum of ambition and caffeine. Jessica found a corner table, her laptop screen reflecting the afternoon light streaming through industrial windows. She stared at the blank document, cursor blinking mockingly. 2 hours until school pickup. 2 hours to process what had just happened. "Screw that," she whispered, then started typing. Her fingers moved across the keyboard with growing intensity, words flowing as frustration transformed into clarity. She wrote about the interview, about Davidson's assumptions, about the systematic barriers facing working mothers. But more importantly, she wrote about solutions. Jessica had spent 18 months doing freelance marketing work. Small projects, local businesses, enough to supplement her divorce settlement, but never enough to feel secure. She'd been so focused on landing the perfect job that she'd forgotten what she already possessed: skills, connections, and a deep understanding of markets that companies like Pinnacle barely comprehended. Around her, conversations floated. A startup founder discussing user acquisition, 2 women planning a product launch, a man negotiating a consulting contract via phone. Denver's entrepreneurial ecosystem was thriving, and she was sitting right in the middle of it. Jessica opened a new document and began outlining a business plan. Not someday, not when the kids were older, not when circumstances were perfect. Now. Her phone buzzed with notifications. LinkedIn connections from networking events, emails from past clients, industry newsletters. She'd been so focused on becoming an employee that she'd ignored the foundation she'd already built as an entrepreneur. By the time she needed to leave for school pickup, Jessica had drafted a business strategy, identified 5 potential clients, and scheduled 3 coffee meetings for the following week. Walking to her car, she felt different, lighter. The rejection at Pinnacle had stung, but it had also revealed something crucial. She'd been asking for permission to succeed instead of simply succeeding. Emma bounced into the car first, backpack dragging, face bright with afternoon energy. Jake followed more casually, the practiced 12-year-old cool that still couldn't quite hide his eagerness to hear about his mother's interview. "So?" Jake asked before his seatbelt clicked. "Did you get it?" Jessica looked at her children in the rearview mirror as she pulled away from McKinley Elementary. These beautiful, resilient kids who'd adapted to divorce, financial uncertainty, and a mother constantly juggling responsibilities. They deserved honesty. "They decided to go with someone else," she said simply. Emma's face fell. "But you're the smartest person I know." "That's very sweet, baby girl. Sometimes these things just don't work out." Jake's expression darkened. "Did they say why?" Jessica navigated Denver traffic, choosing her words carefully. "They wanted someone without family responsibilities." "That's stupid," Jake said flatly. "You work all the time already." From the mouths of babes, Jessica smiled despite everything. "Actually, I've been thinking, what if instead of working for someone else's company, I built my own?" Emma perked up. "Like your own store?" "Sort of. Remember how I help businesses with their advertising? I could do that full-time, but for lots of different companies." "Would you make more money?" Jake asked, ever practical. "Eventually, maybe. It would be challenging at first, but it would be mine. Our schedule, our rules, our decisions." They pulled into their driveway, the modest 2-story house looking different somehow, not like a temporary landing place after the divorce, but like home base for something bigger. "I think you should do it," Emma announced with 8-year-old certainty. "You're brave, Mom." Jake nodded seriously. "And if anyone gives you trouble about being our mom, They're idiots anyway. That evening, after homework was finished and dishes were done, Jessica tucked Emma into bed and sat with Jake for their nightly check-in. "Are you scared?" he asked quietly. "A little," Jessica admitted. "But I'm more excited than scared." "Good, because we believe in you." Jessica woke at 5:30 a.m. on Monday, not from an alarm, but from pure adrenaline. While Denver slept under its blanket of early morning quiet, she was already at her kitchen table with coffee and her laptop, ready to turn last week's revelation into reality. First call Mountain Brewing Company, her former client from freelance days. "Sarah, it's Jessica Thompson. I hope I'm not catching you too early." Sarah Martinez, Mountain Brewing's owner, laughed warmly. "Jessica, perfect timing. I was just thinking we need to refresh our winter campaign. Please tell me you have availability." "Actually, I'm launching my own consultancy, Thompson Strategic Marketing. I'd love to propose a comprehensive strategy for Q4 and beyond. Send me a proposal. When can we meet?" By 9 a.m., Jessica had scheduled meetings with 3 potential clients and outlined proposals for 2 others. Her phone buzzed constantly. Responses to the professional announcement she'd posted on LinkedIn, congratulations from former colleagues, and inquiries about her services. The doorbell rang just as she was reviewing her afternoon presentation materials. A delivery driver stood on her porch holding a large box. "Business cards?" he asked. Jessica signed for the package, realizing she'd completely forgotten about ordering cards. But there they were, crisp white stock with elegant navy lettering. Jessica Thompson, founder and principal, Thompson Strategic Marketing. She'd ordered them in a burst of optimism 3 months ago, then forgotten about them as job interviews consumed her energy. Now they felt like a sign. At 2 p.m., Jessica walked into Mountain Brewing Company's headquarters in Denver's Rhino district, her presentation materials organized, confidence building. Sarah met her in the lobby, genuine enthusiasm in her greeting. "I've been following your LinkedIn posts," Sarah said as they settled in the conference room. "This entrepreneurial move suits you." "Thank you. I'm excited to show you what we can accomplish together." For the next hour, Jessica presented a comprehensive marketing strategy that went far beyond anything she would have proposed as a freelancer. This wasn't just campaign development, it was brand evolution, market positioning, customer journey mapping. "This is exactly what we need," Sarah said finally. "What's your timeline?" "I can start immediately." 3 weeks into Thompson Strategic Marketing's existence, Jessica sat in her home office, the converted spare bedroom with mountain views, reviewing client contracts and project timelines. What had started as desperation after the Pinnacle rejection had evolved into something remarkable, a thriving business with 5 active clients and a waiting list. The morning sun streamed through her window as she prepared for the day's biggest presentation, a comprehensive rebranding proposal for Metro Denver Credit Union, a potential client worth 6 figures annually. "Mom, you look important," Emma observed from the doorway, still in her pajamas. "I feel important today, sweetheart. Want to help me pick a blazer?" Emma took the task seriously, ultimately selecting Jessica's charcoal gray jacket. "This one makes you look like a boss." "I am a boss now, remember?" The credit union meeting exceeded every expectation. Jessica presented to their entire board, outlining a marketing strategy that addressed their community roots while expanding their digital presence. The questions were sharp, the discussion engaged, and by the meeting's end, board chair Patricia Wells was nodding approvingly. "Ms. Thompson, this is exactly the fresh perspective we need. When can you start?" Driving home through Denver's afternoon traffic, Jessica felt something she hadn't experienced in years: professional fulfillment combined with personal control. No one questioned her schedule, her children, or her ability to deliver results. Her work spoke for itself. That evening, as Jake helped with dinner preparation, he asked casually, "How was your day?" "Really good. I signed a big new client." "Bigger than Mountain Brewing?" "Much bigger. This could change everything for us." Jake smiled, then returned to chopping vegetables with newfound precision. At 12, he was old enough to understand what change everything meant. Less financial stress, more security, maybe even family vacations that didn't require careful budget calculations. Later, after the kids were asleep, Jessica updated her business plan and financial projections. In 3 weeks, Thompson Strategic Marketing had generated more revenue than her best freelance month. More importantly, she was building something sustainable, scalable, and entirely hers. Her phone buzzed with a text from Sarah at Mountain Brewing. "Jessica, the preliminary results from your campaign are incredible. 40% increase in tasting room visits. Whatever you're charging, it's not enough." By November, Thompson's strategic marketing occupied not just Jessica's spare bedroom, but had spilled into the dining room, with client materials organized across every available surface. What started as a solo venture now required systems, processes, and soon, additional help. "Mom, I can't find my homework," Emma complained, searching through stacks of campaign mock-ups on the dining table. "Check the kitchen counter, baby. I cleared a homework space there." Jessica was simultaneously proud and overwhelmed. 7 clients, multiple active campaigns, revenue that exceeded her wildest projections from that first day at Fluid Coffee. But success brought new challenges: longer hours, complex project management, and the constant juggle of business growth with family responsibilities. The phone rang as she reviewed creative concepts for Metro Denver Credit Union's holiday campaign. "Jessica, it's Richard Davidson from Pinnacle Solutions." Jessica nearly dropped her coffee mug. Davidson's voice was different now, respectful, almost deferential. "Mr. Davidson, this is unexpected. I've been hearing interesting things about your consultancy. Word travels fast in Denver's marketing community. I was wondering if we might discuss a partnership opportunity." The irony was delicious. 6 weeks ago, Davidson had questioned her ability to prioritize work over family. Now he was calling her. "What kind of partnership did you have in mind?" "We have a client, Colorado Tourism Board, looking for exactly the kind of authentic, community-focused approach you've become known for. It's a substantial contract, but honestly, it's beyond our current capabilities." Jessica let the silence stretch, savoring the moment. "I appreciate you thinking of me, Mr. Davidson. Send me the RFP details, and I'll consider whether Thompson Strategic has bandwidth for new projects." After hanging up, Jessica sat quietly in her home office processing what had just happened. The company that had rejected her based on motherhood assumptions was now seeking her expertise. The position she desperately wanted 6 weeks ago seemed small compared to what she'd built. That evening, Jake found her at the kitchen table, surrounded by project timelines and client notes. "You're working late again," he observed. "I know, sweetheart. Business is growing faster than I expected. Is that good or bad?" Jessica looked at her son's earnest face. "It's good, but it means I need to figure out better balance. Maybe hire some help. Like employees? Maybe. Would you be okay with Mom having a real office someday, with other people working there?" Jake grinned. "Does that mean you're officially successful now?" "I think so, buddy. I think so." December brought Denver's first real snow and Thompson Strategic Marketing's biggest decision point yet. Jessica stared at the lease agreement for a small office space in Denver's trendy Rhino district. 800 square feet, exposed brick, enough room for 3 desks, and a proper conference area. "It's perfect," said Lisa Chen, the freelance graphic designer Jessica was considering as her first employee. They'd worked together on the Mountain Brewing campaigns, and Lisa's creative vision perfectly complemented Jessica's strategic thinking. "The rent is manageable, especially with the Colorado Tourism Board contract," Jessica mused, walking through the empty space. Large windows overlooked Denver's downtown skyline, the mountains visible in the distance. "Are you nervous about taking the leap?" "Terrified," Jessica admitted. 6 months ago, I was begging for a job. Now I'm considering hiring employees." That evening, Jessica called a family meeting. Her, Jake, and Emma gathered around the kitchen table with hot chocolate and graham crackers. "I need your opinions about something important," she began. "My business is growing, and I'm thinking about renting an office and hiring people to help." Emma's eyes widened. "Like a real company?" "Exactly like a real company, but it would mean some changes. I might work longer hours sometimes, travel occasionally for client meetings." Jake frowned. "Would we see you less?" "Maybe at first while I'm figuring things out, but eventually it should mean more stability for our family, better income, health insurance through the business, maybe even saving for college." The kids exchanged glances, that silent sibling communication that always amazed Jessica. "We trust you, Mom," Jake said finally. "You haven't steered us wrong yet." Emma nodded seriously. "And Mrs. Rodriguez loves watching us. She said she's proud of you for being brave." 2 days later, Jessica signed the lease. Thomson Strategic Marketing would have its first official office by January 1st. The news spread quickly through Denver's tight-knit business community. Sarah from Mountain Brewing sent a congratulatory bottle of their premium stout. Metro Denver Credit Union's board chair called personally to express excitement about working with an expanding agency. Most surprisingly, Richard Davidson from Pinnacle Solutions requested a meeting. "Not as a client," he clarified over email. "I'd like to discuss something more significant." Jessica agreed to coffee, curious about what Pinnacle's VP of Marketing wanted to discuss. Jessica arrived at Fluid Coffee on Larimer Street 15 minutes early, choosing the same corner table where she'd first outlined her business plan 2 months earlier. The symbolism wasn't lost on her, from rejection to expansion, all anchored by this bustling coffee shop that represented Denver's entrepreneurial spirit. Richard Davidson looked different somehow, less polished, more authentic than during their disastrous interview in October. "Thank you for meeting me," he said, settling across from her with his coffee. "I have a proposition that might sound crazy." "I'm listening." Davidson took a deep breath. "Pinnacle Solutions wants to acquire Thomson Strategic Marketing." Jessica nearly choked on her latte. "Excuse me? I know how it sounds. 2 months ago, I made a terrible decision about your candidacy. Since then, I've watched your company's trajectory, talked to mutual clients, seen your work. You've built something remarkable in record time." "Mr. Davidson," "Richard, please, and let me finish. This isn't about ego or fixing my mistake. It's about recognizing exceptional talent and strategic thinking. Your approach to community-based marketing, your client relationships, your rapid growth, that's exactly what Pinnacle needs to stay competitive." Jessica leaned back, processing. "What exactly are you proposing?" "Full acquisition. You'd maintain creative control over your client relationships and strategic direction. Your team would integrate with ours. You'd become Senior Vice President of Community Marketing, overseeing both your existing accounts and new business development." The number he mentioned made Jessica's head spin, enough to secure her children's futures, pay off her mortgage, and provide financial stability she'd never imagined. "I need to think about this," she said carefully. "Of course. Take your time. But Jessica, I want to be clear about something. My initial decision was wrong, based on outdated assumptions about working mothers and professional commitment. Your success proves that parents, particularly single mothers, often bring unique strengths to business leadership: focus, efficiency, emotional intelligence, authentic connection with diverse markets." After Davidson left, Jessica sat alone at the coffee shop, staring at the acquisition offer. 6 months ago, she would have called this a miracle. Now she felt surprisingly conflicted. Her phone buzzed. Text from Jake. "How's your meeting going? You're probably being amazing." Jessica smiled, tucked the offer into her purse, and headed home. Some decisions required more than financial analysis. Christmas Eve found Jessica in her home office, not wrapping presents or preparing holiday dinner, but wrestling with the most important decision of her professional life. The acquisition offer from Pinnacle Solutions sat on her desk beside Thomson Strategic Marketing's quarterly financial reports, both representing different paths forward. Snow fell steadily outside her window, blanketing Denver's suburbs in pristine white. The house was quiet. Jake and Emma were at their father's for Christmas Eve, leaving Jessica alone with her thoughts for the first time in months. She'd spent the week consulting everyone: her mentor from business school, fellow entrepreneurs in Denver's marketing community, even her divorce attorney for contract review. Everyone agreed. Pinnacle's offer was generous, professionally validating, and financially transformative. So why did it feel wrong? Jessica walked to the kitchen, made tea, and returned to study the numbers. The acquisition would provide immediate security, health benefits, and a substantial salary. Thomson Strategic would continue operating, but under Pinnacle's umbrella, with their resources and established client base. But it would also mean returning to corporate structure, board meetings, and someone else's ultimate authority over decisions that affected her life and her children's future. Her laptop chimed with an email from Lisa Chen, her graphic designer and potential first employee. "Jessica, I know you're weighing options, but I wanted you to know. Working with Thomson Strategic has been the highlight of my career. Whatever you decide, I'm grateful for the opportunity to create something meaningful together." More emails followed throughout the evening, Sarah from Mountain Brewing thanking Jessica for campaigns that had transformed their brand visibility. Metro Denver Credit Union's board chair, expressing excitement about their upcoming projects. 3 potential new clients requesting proposals for spring launches. By midnight, Jessica understood her decision. She opened her laptop and began typing. Dear Richard, thank you for Pinnacle Solutions' generous acquisition offer and for recognizing Thompson Strategic Marketing's potential. After careful consideration, I've decided to continue building my company independently. Thompson Strategic represents more than a business opportunity. It's proof that working mothers can create successful enterprises while maintaining family priorities. Selling now would abandon that mission when it's needed most. I wish Pinnacle continued success and hope we might collaborate as partners on future projects. Sincerely, Jessica Thompson, founder and CEO, Thompson Strategic Marketing. Jessica sent the email, then leaned back in her chair, feeling lighter than she had in weeks. 6 months later, Jessica stood before the Denver Businesswomen's Association, delivering a keynote speech to an audience of entrepreneurs, executives, and aspiring business leaders. Thompson Strategic Marketing now employed 4 people, occupied a larger office in Reno, and represented 12 clients across Colorado. When I started this company, Jessica told the audience, it wasn't from a grand vision or careful market analysis. It began with rejection, being told that my children made me unsuitable for a corporate marketing position. Murmurs rippled through the crowd, recognition and empathy from women who'd faced similar challenges. That rejection became the catalyst for building something larger than I'd ever imagined. Not just a successful business, but proof that working mothers bring unique strengths to entrepreneurship. We understand efficiency because we have no choice. We prioritize ruthlessly because time is precious. We connect authentically because we know what matters most. In the audience, Jessica spotted familiar faces, Sarah from Mountain Brewing, Lisa from her team, even Richard Davidson from Pinnacle Solutions, who'd become a surprising ally and occasional collaborator. Thompson Strategic Marketing succeeded not despite my role as a mother, but because of it. My children taught me resilience, creativity, and the courage to take risks for something better. They've been my inspiration, my motivation, and my greatest supporters. After the speech, as Jessica mingled with attendees, a young woman approached nervously. Ms. Thompson, I'm a single mother of 3, and I've been considering starting my own consulting business, but everyone says it's impossible to balance entrepreneurship with children. Jessica smiled, remembering her own fears and doubts just 1 year earlier. It's not impossible, she said firmly. It's challenging, demanding, and sometimes overwhelming, but it's absolutely possible. The question isn't whether you can do both, it's whether you're ready to prove everyone wrong. Driving home through Denver's evening traffic, Jessica reflected on the journey from rejection to recognition. Thompson Strategic Marketing had exceeded every projection, but more importantly, it had demonstrated something crucial, that success doesn't require choosing between family and career. Sometimes it requires refusing to accept that choice at all. At home, Jake and Emma waited with homework questions and dinner plans, the same beautiful chaos that had once seemed like a professional liability. Now Jessica understood these moments differently, not as obstacles to overcome, but as the foundation for everything she'd built. Her phone buzzed with a text from a potential client, another from Lisa about tomorrow's presentation, and finally one from Sarah at Mountain Brewing. Jessica, your success story is inspiring more women to start their own businesses. You've started something bigger than marketing. You've started a movement. Jessica smiled, tucked her phone away and focused on what mattered most, helping Jake with algebra, braiding Emma's hair, and enjoying another evening in the life she'd fought to create.